Welcome back, everybody. Holiday Doc here, and this is a very special edition, close to the heart, personal, in-depth look into kind of what's going on around myself. And the topic at hand is, how do you approach somebody about their kid, about their parenting styles? So, along with me today, we have none other than QP. How you doing?
Yo, doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Great. And then my also good friend, Mr. MidgetKing.
Heyo.
And I brought these two guys in on this conversation because they both have kids all in the same age range with what I'm dealing with right now. Very short snippet of the backstory. A friend of mine has another kid, and the kid comes over to our house quite a bit. He doesn't get along whatsoever with my kid, and it either ends up in my kid always getting hurt, something in my house getting wrecked, or just blatant disregard for anything that's going on in the house, like extreme yelling to the point where it sounds like somebody's dying, and it's very weird for me. And I think I may have overstepped the boundary where I mentioned it to the parents, and I basically tried to say that, hey man, something needs to change. And I tried to be as political as possible with the initial remark as I could, but ultimately it turned out into a very bad conversation with my wife and his wife. It ended up terrible. And have you guys had any experience with this whatsoever?
I have too. I have a cousin who has a child who is about, I'd say he's about my daughter's age, 5 or 6 maybe, and he is just a little destructive child. The kids are kids. I mean, they're a product of the parenting that goes with it, and I mean, you can't really address the child. I mean, you can try and it's your home, it's your safe zone. I mean, you can try and be somewhat disciplinarian with the child or be stern with them. But ultimately, I mean, the way a child acts is a direct reflection of the parenting that is in place. And some parents just, unfortunately, don't provide the attention and the love and the caring that they should. Especially when you've got a child who is, apparently, obviously, pretty rambunctious.
Yes.
Or overzealous.
And you see, that's true to a point, but like my son is just turned 4, and my nephew, they're only 6 months apart. And my brother and his wife, they're actually really good parents. I know they are. Like, I've seen them raise their children and all that. So you can't always blame it 100% on the parents. Sometimes it is the kid. But like my nephew and my son just fight nonstop. Like he comes over. Like I, as most of you know, I was home with my son for the past week, and every time he came over, like he was just fighting with my son the whole time. Like about anything my son had, he wanted to have. And I think a lot of it had to do with him is like he just had like my brother just had another son, so he's got like I'm not an only child syndrome, like I need my attention type of thing. Yeah. And he's bigger than my son too, because God love my son, he's gonna end up being just like me. But
Midget
he's just bullying him around the whole time, and I was like, hitting him and stuff, and I was like, you know what, just fucking hit him back, man. Like
yeah, and that's kind of. One of the major issues that kind of recently set us off was the kid had come over right before we were all moving, and my wife's 2 younger brothers are like 12 and 9 maybe, so they're young, and they were all playing with this other kid, and the youngest kid who we're talking about right now thought it would be just the best thing to go around the entire time and try to punch the oldest one in the nuts repeatedly. Like literally non-stop. So he did it once or twice, and the older kid was like, if you do that again, I'm going to hurt you. And he kept going at it. So my wife had to step in and physically push him away while this kid was punching her in the face, calling her a fucking bitch, you blah 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 blah, just spilling out venom at her. And to hear that, like, that bothered me, because I probably would have bent the kid over and slapped him on the ass. But she didn't want to do anything like that. The only thing she could do was just kind of push him in the corner, and she took it very calmly. Like, she got punched in the face by this kid repeatedly, and I couldn't believe how calm she took it.
Well, I think moms are a little bit more understanding with the types of outbursts. Like I don't have a boy. I've got a daughter. She's 5, and I mean, she throws her fits, she throws her tantrums. But as a dad, I mean, this is something that unfortunately, in my eyes, because a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm actually a licensed foster parent.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
it's pretty crazy, but like a lot of the stuff that you go through when you sit in the licensing classes, they tell you that, you know, those physical outbursts, those signs of aggression and those things, if they're not held in check when the children are younger, I mean, and there's positive things that you can do to help kind of diffuse the situation. Typically being calm, like what your wife did, is probably the best thing to do. Like, if you overreact and you go aggression with aggression, that will typically just lead to a reinforcement of that negativity. That, okay, this person can do it, so it must be okay for me to do it when I feel like I'm in control of the situation.
I don't know. I don't agree with that 100%.
See, here's another thing to think about, right? Because girls and boys are so different, and obviously our parenting styles are at completely opposite ends of the spectrum. If anybody's ever met my kids, I'm very strict. I'll admit it. I potentially could be a little over strict, and it's all for a reason. Like, I watched my younger sister grow up with very lax parenting, because I took the brunt of it. You know, the first kid through always, gets the brunt, right? The second kid through kind of just passes with the brush off.
I'm the second child, so that's what I say.
Exactly.
What is that comment?
I kind of felt like, I want to be even, but very, very strict on certain things in my house. Like, I don't allow any jumping on any furniture at any point, any time of the day. It just doesn't happen. That kind of stuff is outside only. Whereas with that kid, it's the complete opposite. Like, the house is like a fun house or a trampoline jungle gym, and that really clashes in our house. But I think the girl-boy thing and the spectrums, it might just be like, I'm looking at it from one complete opposite side, whereas they're looking at it from the opposite side again, right? Like, it's really hard to see eye to eye.
To be honest, though, a lot of things that have to deal with parenting is also, like, I'm not sure how, like, your situation with your friend and everything, but it's all about how they were raised as well. Like, I know that is the way it is with me. Like, my parents were strict, and I see they raised two sons that were, like, my brother and I were good. Like, we didn't do things badly or wrong, I mean, I've screwed up in my life before, but that was at older age, and that's my own fault. But growing up, we were, like, perfect kids, and I just try to model exactly the same way that my parents raised me, because it worked for them, and I can only hope that it works for me as well.
Yeah, and I'm the opposite side of that. Like, my parents were real laid back, small town country folk, and they were chill, and I took them for they earned every gray hair that they have with me and my brother. I mean, you name it, we were into it.
Yeah. Wow. My parents are great. I can't lie.
So I guess a small example of how kind of my strictness has kind of paid off, I think. A large part of it is to do with my wife. She's terrific with the kids. Is like homework and teaching and preschool and pre-learning and all that sort of stuff. So my daughter's going into grade 2 right now with a grade 4, grade 5 reading level. So we're constantly pushing, the at-home work before play. And it started, before she even thought about school, putting her in the preschool, getting her interested in the controlled, organized environments, and I think that is a big part of what is kind of so different about our kids. But back to the question, did I overstep? Am I in the wrong for being that person who essentially is calling quote unquote intervention?
I don't think so.
I don't either. I mean, it's your house. These are your children. It's your job to make sure that their best interest is looked after. And if it's not hanging around this other child, then that's, I mean, I can't say that you overstepped your boundary, and I think that you're totally entitled to say whatever you want.
Well, not only that, I mean, you're being a good friend by doing it. Because if you nip this kind of behavior and activity in the butt right now, hopefully it'll be able to work its way out. But if they don't see it in their own eyes, then it's never going to be fixed. So by you planting that seed and saying, hey, this actually is an issue and you need to take a look at it, maybe eventually that'll sink in and they'll start to realize it and hopefully go down the correct path and just change a little bit or a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's the little things too that can, if they have the discussion with, hey, we're going over to Josh's house, you can't be doing this kind of stuff. If they just have those little minor discussions before they they come over, they do those types of things. I mean, that could make a world of difference.
True.
But you don't know until you try.
You don't know till you try. I don't know how this is gonna end up. I know it was pretty ugly as far as what I read on the conversations. I said like maybe 3 things, and then that was the last of what I was conversating back and forth with. But the wife took it for the rest of the night, so we'll see how it kind of ends up. Thanks for tuning in. I haven't matched this with a gameplay yet because I wanted to see how long it was gonna pan out. This potentially could have turned into a podcast, but Rage Quit Mondays until Monday. So then again, thanks QP7225
I appreciate you having me.
MidgetKing, you need to get a new computer and start doing commentaries.
Yes.
Before you end this though, you have to give a shout out to all the parents out there. Obviously, the 3 of us know that it's not an easy job to go through, but we all do our best. So just shout out to everybody. Did you see my
setup video?
No, not yet.
Oh, my daughter was in it. It was so funny. Definitely watch that. The little one. She just gives the evilest grin to the camera. It's hilarious. But yeah, awesome. You're perfectly on track with that. Being a parent is not easy. I started very young, and I love every minute of it. Thanks again, guys. I am out here.
See you guys.